Re re ga ma pa ma ga ma re sa. Re re ga ma pa ma ga ma re sa.
Bhagavan, you speak a great deal about setting relationship right. What does that mean?
In this work, we have found that unless the heart cooperates, the brain does not seem to be getting the right kind of signals and not entering the right states of consciousness. And it has to do a lot with the physical heart itself. And we found unless the relationships are set right, the physical heart just does not cooperate. So, in the 21 days, for example, when we very often find a person not progressing, we take him out of the process, do what we call a samskara shuddhi on him. It is mainly setting right his relationships. And then once that has been set right, we see the heart is sending a different kind of signal and the person is able to get the states. So that was how we realized it is so important to set right relationships. Otherwise, the heart is just not cooperating. And without the heart, you can achieve very little.
Samskara shuddhi, what is the meaning of that word?
Samskara shuddhi is cleansing of your conditioning. Samskaras means conditioning. Shuddhi means cleansing. So we acquire a lot of conditioning over the years. And this could sometimes be a hindrance to your growth or progress. So we have a way of erasing the samskaras or the conditioning. And then you continue to make progress.
Bhagavan, what effect would we expect Diksha to have on relationship? If someone is having trouble in relationship and they are receiving Diksha in Europe or America in some country, and they receive Diksha, how could we expect their relationships to change as a result?
The Diksha can be given, and strangely the person discovers love and relationship, and the sense of separateness is gone. There's a freedom from the past, and he doesn't get hurt any longer, and he begins to enjoy that relationship.
It can happen sometimes
Yes.
in marriages or close relationships,
Yes.
that people really get into a tangle where they feel hurt, they feel angry,
Yes.
and they have a lot of conflict.
Yes.
If somebody, whether it's somebody just coming newly to Diksha, or this can even happen for people who've been giving Diksha, that this happens still, what advice would you give? What would be like emergency first aid? What's to set these things right when it's really in conflict? What's the best way to proceed?
The emergency first aid I would give is teach them the art of listening to see what's happening inside them, and start this process and then receive the Diksha. Then Diksha takes you to the very end of the story that is being revealed to you all the time. And once you have listened to the story, the relationship is automatically set right. Because very often you're not listening to the story, which is playing with your relationship. And if you give it a hearing to the very end, then the story stops and the relationship naturally falls into order.
What do you mean by listening to the story? Do you mean listening to the thoughts that are running inside us, or listening to the other person?
It's not exactly thoughts, but we carry a lot of stories within us. And these stories manipulate and control relationship. And all that they need is they have to be listened to. Strangely, once they have been listened to, they lose all charge. They no more interfere with you. But people hardly listen to that. The Diksha helps you in listening to the story. And once it has expressed itself, the hold is gone. And without that hold, the relationship very naturally falls into order. The person looks very different. I have had examples of people come and complain to me saying, we want to divorce our wives. And now I have asked them, then why did you marry her in the first instance? And they say, no, we married for money. Because in India you get a lot of money in the form of what they call dowry, So then I said, but then you can't give her up right now because you've taken the money. Yes, but then I really don't like her. I don't like her face, I don't like her complexion, I don't like her teeth. Now once they've listened to the story and they've undergone the process, the same person falls in love with her. And the relationship is set right. This happens almost every day.
As well as Diksha, there are many other things that we know in the West to work with relationship. Things like learning skills of listening, learning skills of speaking in a more responsible way. And actually, there's a lot of different courses and books
Yes.
about how to improve relationship through behaving differently. Do you think that that is also helpful, or is Diksha going to be enough?
Well, we could develop these skills, and they would certainly be very helpful. But the Diksha acts in a very special way. What the Diksha does is, instead of trying to help you to understand the other, it helps you to experience the other. The moment you start experiencing the other, it does not matter who the other is. Because anything when experienced is nothing but joy. So a quarrel could actually become a source of joy. Anger could become a source of joy. So the entire thing gets converted. Now, through no technique is this possible. A Diksha alone is capable of doing that. And the other thing is, the Diksha can often swing between bird's eye view and a worm's eye view. It's like using the Google to see the planet and then zooming down. No? So these views keep alternating. You see that the world is in conflict. There's so much suffering and pain. As a third party, as a witness, and suddenly you zoom down to your own relationship with your wife. Then again you go back to the global point of view. When this repeats 3 or 4 times, you become completely detached and you begin to enjoy that same relationship without bringing about any change in that relationship.